Hey everyone, I wanted to kind of just give you a real quick preview of this software from Nick Software. It's called Viveza. It's kind of big news because NAT members get $50 off, but what I want to do is kind of show you, where I would use it, and I'll give you the kind of the pros and cons where I think it's worth it after the video here. But it's definitely something to at least look at. If you go into the filter menu after you install it, you go to Nick Software. It's called Viveza. It is a plugin for Photoshop, and it uses this U-point technology, which is becoming pretty big. We're definitely going to see some more of this stuff here. And the way it works is real simple. I add a control point. So I'll click on her face, for example, and we want to draw a little bit more attention to the bride. So you've got this little diameter around here. You can adjust the size of that circle just by moving that slider back and forth here. And what we're saying here is we want to draw a little bit more focus to the bride. So you've got three sliders here: brightness, contrast, and saturation. I just take my brightness slider here and start to increase that, and you can see here it's almost like putting a little spotlight on the bride. But look at the area, look at the trees behind it. It's not affecting the trees, and that's that U-point technology. That's where we put the point onto the bride, and that's pretty much the only area it's affecting. Let's go down here to the flowers and kind of drop down our circle here, and I'll make these a little bit brighter and maybe even increase the contrast a little bit, and we could bump up the saturation. You can see we could add a lot of color saturation. It's already pretty saturated, so I'll leave it at that. And the last thing I want to do here is go over to this building in the backgrounds, and I'm even going to put part of the circle out of the frame, and we want to take attention away from this. Alright, so I'll make it darker, and I'll even bring down the contrast and bring down the saturation. We really want people focusing on the bride. We don't want them focusing on that big white shiny object in the top right. Alright, you've got a preview checkbox. You can turn it off, turn it on. You've got a split view, which is actually pretty cool, and then you've also got a before and after view, so you can see where you've been and where you are now. So kind of neat stuff. Is this something that I could do in Photoshop? Absolutely. Could I do it what I just did that quickly in Photoshop? Probably not. All right, because I was describing it as I went along. I could probably do what I just did in here in about 30 to 60 seconds, where it might take me a couple of minutes to do in Photoshop. Really, it's not what it does; it's how it does it, and it kind of takes the complexity of selections and masking away from you. So if you're not familiar with that stuff, this might be something to check out. The other thing that where I really see this useful is if you own some type of a studio or a business where you don't have time to train somebody to use Photoshop. You can teach somebody to do what I just did here pretty quickly. All right, they still have to have a creative eye to know what to fix and to what to draw attention to and to pull attention away from, and where to add color and brightness and whatnot. But you can teach somebody the mechanics of what we just did here very, very quickly, where it might take a while to teach them about brushing and masking and levels and adjustments and all that in Photoshop. So that's one of the big benefits. You do have to pay for it. It's not free, so that's one of the downfalls. But if you've got that situation where you're either cramped for time, you just don't have the time to learn masking and brushing and all those selection techniques in Photoshop, or you have that assistant that can get in here and use this software, it's definitely something to check out. You can go find out more. It's on the NAT member website, and you'll see that NAT members get this for $50 off, which is a pretty good discount compared to everything else. So check it out. It's Nick Software's plugin. It's called Viveza.